The following program is brought to you by CryptoShyp Radio Hour.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. The presenters are not financial advisors, and the opinions presented should not be construed as financial advice. Trading cryptocurrency carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Before deciding to invest in cryptocurrency, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. You should be aware of all the risks associated with cryptocurrency trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Past performance is not indicative of future results.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the CryptoShyp Radio Hour. My name is Benjamin Chatson. I'm in studio today with my awesome mom. She decided to join me today. And it's CryptoShyp with a Y, ship with a Y. And you might say our Y is you. We want to bring you stories behind the stories behind the stories. We want to share information that's readily available if you look for it. That's underneath all the, what you might say, chaos that's going on right now. And, you know, my heart goes out to anyone who's suffering right now with what's going on in the world. There's a lot happening, and there's also a lot happening in crypto. And we want to talk about some of that, but I want to take a few minutes and, you know what, Mom, hi, I want to welcome you.
Thank you, and I wish everybody a peaceful Memorial Day weekend.
Yep, it's Memorial Day weekend. I want to take a few minutes and honor the closest veteran to me's, I have veterans in my life. Very specifically, though, my grandfather, who is no longer with us. It's been about, 16 years, maybe that long?
Yeah.
Since he's passed away. He was a navigator in World War II on a B-17 Flying Fortress, and he had the stressful and responsible duty of telling the bombardiers where to actually drop the bomb. So took care of us really well. Our love goes out to you, Pop. You know, we miss you. I have this picture of me and him from December 1989. It's his old plane landed in Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, and I've got a picture of myself looking through the I don't know if it's the cockpit, but it's where he would look down to drop the bombs. It's just me as a little kid. You see that?
Yeah.
And you know, I was reading this for probably the 100th time in years, because this is going back to 1989. And you know, this one line stands out to me that I had really never noticed before, and it's one of the people that were on the plane, and he said he's talking about the plane itself. He said the only difference between this one and the ones I flew in is there's no smell of blood. And I think that's a profound experience to remember. And I don't think that most of our generation has had the chance to stand up for much. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But again, you know, to all the veterans out there, both not with us and still with us, thank you for your service. We appreciate you. We love you. This country would not be what it is without you. And do you have anything you want to say to them?
Nope, I just think that's very true, and we honor all of you.
Yeah, so let's kind of jump into crypto. I want to talk about a little bit of regulation today. Last week we talked about, and I'll start from where we ended up last week, where we talked about making mistakes, Ponzi schemes, and things like that. So I talked about with my friend Coach Ken and Angie last week, and we talked about making mistakes and Ponzi's in crypto, and very specifically, a couple of our friends were flirting with one of these things, and wouldn't you know it, between last time we spoke and this time we spoke, that Ponzi collapsed. They lost money, and it's a shame. It really is. And it speaks to the need for regulation in the industry. And there's going to be all kinds of different regulation. I'm going to go over a couple different kinds on this show. But even before that, if you do the research and you look at things, I mean, it's not that hard to see that if you look at a website and the names are fake and you really can't tell who it is, and they're offering crazy kinds of returns really quickly, that should all be red flags. Don't be drawn into any kind of hype or fear, or the fear of missing out on something, or you're going to get rich overnight. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about long-term vision, long-term investing if you're going to get into it, and really methodical research and going with what makes sense. It's funny. I have a couple projects going on, and one of them is RockU.Academy. If anybody wants to go check that out, we have it's done for you business solutions for coaches, life coaches, and business coaches. And we started up recently, and it's going vertical, and it's great. But specifically, we started taking our first processing payments, and it's funny because I got a notice from one of the people in the company, Ronnie, that the one of the first payments we took through the processor, which will remain nameless. They want to put a 21-day hold on the payment. And I don't know how many times they're going to do that with different payments, but it's just because we're new, right? But it shows that these companies will do what they think is in your best interest with your money and not just let it pass go and collect your $200. With crypto, which is what makes it really great, there is none of that. It's peer-to-peer. It tears down the walls of control. It tears down the walls of needing to wait for your money. And it's your money. You should be able to get it. So all great solutions that crypto can offer. Take a sip of water 1 second. And what I want to do is, what time is it? It's about 1:11. Oh, in a couple minutes, I want to play an audio of a story that I've touched on the last few weeks that we haven't really been able to go too deep, just kind of been skimming the surface of it, is the Terra Luna situation. And we're working our way backwards. Right now, they've already rebranded Terra Luna. It's been pumped, it's been dumped, and Terra Luna and the Terra Luna ecosystem, specifically the UST, was a stable coin tagged to the pegged to the US dollar, and it got destroyed a few weeks ago. So what I'm gonna do is play an audio of it's two audios actually. It's one week from about 3 weeks ago, and then it's the following week, kind of like the story, kind of putting it together because we want to be able to connect the dots really easy. But it shows what's going to happen or what has already happened, and it is happening with, say, like regulation of stable coins. Because as soon as all of this happened, immediately Janet Yellen was in front of Congress, or not Congress, but I forget who she was sitting in front of. They immediately, when this coin got destroyed, immediately moved to introduce and demand that we need regulation for stable coins. So this audio I'm going to play is kind of a 30,000 foot level. And Daniel, I've edited it down so it's nice and clean. All right. I know we're on the radio, so we got to make sure everything's on the up and up. He does curse a little bit, but it's completely taken out, and it's just the nuts and bolts of what he's going to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that for the next 15 minutes or so, and then I think he's calling in. We might talk about it. If not, I'll roll with it. My buddy Jim Gale, the guy with the Food Forest guy. Uh-huh. He wanted to come back on and say hi, kind of talk some crypto, and then I'll bring him in after the break. And then I've got a little bit more information about some more regulation also in a different direction, but also at a 30,000 foot level that I want to share with you. So let me get this set up. And here we go. Ready?
Blink, you will miss it. Where do you hide something? In plain sight. How do you keep the people moving off the cliff? Get them to focus this way when there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. Now I want to share with you guys, this has been happening for centuries. A repeated process of the sheeple walking off a cliff as there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. Now I'm going to take you through a journey around what I think is happening with Terra Luna. This is just my opinion. But remember, just like the internet days, first they resisted it, then they sued it, then they regulated it, then they joined it. And those who held on like a tick on a dog and believed when nobody else believed became some of the wealthiest people in the world. So your persistence, your resilience, and who you listen to is going to be the most important thing as you move forward, you guys. So let's jump right into it. So I want to show you this TikTok first. I want to give credit where credit is due. Let me scroll up just a little bit here. If we go over here. So this is Block Chano. It's BLOCKCHAINO on TikTok. This dude is, or guy or gal, sounds like it's a guy's voice, is putting out some killer videos. So big shout out. But I want to show you the breakdown that this person did around what they think or the mysteriousness of the missing BTC. So let's watch this video first, and then I'll take you to a geopolitical and macro level, and then we'll break it back down into what I think is going to happen. All right, let's check this out. And by the way, it's the greatest time in human history. Those of you who are like, hey, it was too high to get into crypto. Now it's too low to get into crypto. Get in where you fit in. Let's go. All right, here we go.
$0.5 billion of Bitcoin is missing, and people are looking for answers. As of May 5th, Luna Foundation Guard had 80,394 Bitcoin in its reserve. This Bitcoin was meant to be used as reserves for UST. Let's track what we do know about where the Bitcoin was sent. On May 9th, 22,189 Bitcoin were sent from Luna Foundation Guard to a new wallet address. Later that evening, an additional 30,000 Bitcoin were sent to this same wallet. Not long after this, the entirety of the 52,189 Bitcoin was then sent to Gemini. But the trail goes cold after this transfer, and we can't tell if the Bitcoin was then sold or transferred to additional wallets. Then at 1 a.m. on May 10th, the remaining 28,205 Bitcoin in the reserves were sent in a single transaction to Binance. But again, the trail goes cold once the Bitcoin reaches Binance. Terra will likely address what has happened with the Bitcoin, but in the meantime, what do you think was done with it?
Okay, so what do you think was done with it? So let's pay attention to the dates, okay? So that's how my brain works, is I pay attention to the dates. Again, this is on TikTok, Blockchino. Go check that out, okay? So now we're going to watch Janet Yellen on May 10th, 2022. Pay attention to the dates, okay? Those who create the problem, create the reaction, come up with the solution. Let's listen to Janet Yellen.
You walk in their shoes. That's all we're asking. And then let me start with, Secretary, the cryptocurrency, because I do believe, and I want to be a part of this discussion, we do need a regulatory framework for stablecoins. Last week, Fabio Panetta, one of the European Central Bank's 6 executive board members, noted that the cryptocurrency market is now larger than the subprime mortgage.
So we need regulation on stablecoins. They keep talking about this. Is on May 10th, Terra, Luna, missing Bitcoin around May 10th.
Market, which was triggered the global financial crisis. Nobody knows that better than us in the state of Nevada. And he says this, $1.3 trillion market shows strikingly similar dynamics. There are about 10,000 crypto assets now. So my question, Madam Secretary, is one financial risk posed by cryptocurrencies is the concentration of ownership. Do you see any financial risk because professional investors and high net worth individuals hold almost 2/3 of the Bitcoin supply?
So I'm not sure if the concentration of holdings among high wealth investors, if that's true, poses in and of itself a financial risk unless those investors happen to be leveraged so that a decline in the value of the assets can trigger financial distress, which spills over to others. But certainly I think there are many risks associated with cryptocurrencies, and the president has asked the Treasury and FSOC to look at those risks. We will issue a comprehensive report shortly. The president's working group has already described the risks we see in connection with one form of crypto assets, which is stable coins. And there we see run risks, which could threaten financial stability, risks associated with the payment system and its integrity, and risks associated with increased concentration if stable coins are issued by firms that already have substantial market power.
Okay, she literally explained the black swan that happened with Terra Luna. Do you see what I'm seeing, Warriors? She literally explained the black swan happening with Terra Luna. Okay, so check this out. So let's dive into the narrative.
So we definitely see.
So we got what happened to the Bitcoin, right? We still don't know what happened to the Bitcoin. There's a mysterious thing happening with that. The financial stability report comes out on stable coins, breaking this down in detail. So she's talking about this on May 10th. All of a sudden, we have this black swan around the same time with Terra Luna showing that stable coins are not really safe. So who caused that black swan? Think about that for just a moment. Would it be the people that are trying to regulate the cryptocurrency space? Did a concerted attack cause Terra's UST to crash below $1? An executive behind the largest stablecoin, and experts agree it's very suspicious. I put the word very in there, by the way. UST plummeted far below $1, pegged, adding downward pressure to Bitcoin and the overall cryptocurrency market as it crashed. Its sister token Luna also collapsed nearly to zero. This wiped out many cryptocurrency investors' life savings, right? Life savings. Reddit forums dedicated to Terra's ecosystem are riddled with sad posts and series links to helplines with national suicide prevention. That's why I always talk about mental health in our academy. That's why we train our warriors for mental health. We never, ever focus on pump and dumps. We focus on long-term fundamental strategies, warriors. This is super sad what happened, and more of this is coming. I'm letting you know more of this is coming. That's why being in fundamental around the right groups, fundamental cryptocurrency groups, investment groups that understand long-term fundamental investing. Nobody could predict what happened with Terra, but I believe in my paradigm that they created the problem, which created the reaction. And guess what? They're going to come up with stablecoin regulation. They're going to actually use the Ripple XRP case with the SEC to bring in a new Howey test. It's all by design. I've been telling you from that minute that case was dropped that this was to bring in a new Howey test. Terra's collapse could accelerate crypto regulation by legislators, Circle CEO. Of course it is. SEC commissioner 2 days ago expects tighter stablecoin regulations, Yellen says. Stablecoins not the real threat to our financial stability.
All right, and now this is his video from yesterday, May 20th.
Crypto regulation coming in hot. Holy cow, warriors. I'm going to teach you or show you what we are doing at the Warrior Academy to stay calm, to stay consistent. But you need to be diligent through this regulation. Now, warriors, mental health during this crypto bloodbath where you should be buying the blood in the streets. Hint, as they look this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. We don't trip, we dive by the dip. All right, I'm going to dive right into it today, warriors. All right, so this is kind of neat to see, I guess. So you can look at it many different ways. But Tether, you do not want to have a Terra Luna incident. So yesterday was announced that Terra Luna claims that stablecoin is now partially backed by non-U.S. government bonds. But what this tells me, warriors, hello, the casino is literally moving over to cryptocurrency. Does this not sound familiar? It's basically the current economic system moving over to the crypto ecosystem. So Terra said that its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds rose 13% to $39.2 billion, while commercial paper fell 17% to $20.1 billion. The company said it now also owns around $286 million in non-U.S. government bonds. It comes after Tether, the digital currency, briefly fell below its intended $1 peg. So they said, whoa, wait a minute. We're not playing this game like Terra Luna. We're going to diversify. And this is an important shots fired into the ecosystem that I see coming. This tells me 100%, 1000% that we have nothing to worry about. The crypto is here to stay. Now, what you need to understand is that you need to be patient because regulation is going to completely shake up this space. Here's why. The G7 crypto regulation is on the agenda for G7. You need to understand what the G7 is. I'm going to break it down for you in just a moment. So crypto asset regulation will be a topic of talk among the group of seven, according to French central bank head Francisco Villeroy del Jolaja, whatever you say that. Reuters reported on Tuesday. The finance chiefs are set to meet this week in Germany, speaking at an emerging markets conference. He said that the recent crypto turbulence in the markets proved there was a need for regulation. What happened in the recent past is a wake-up call and an urgent need for global regulation. Cryptocurrency is going to be the global form of payments. You need to work to pick the winners and losers. G7 calls for consistent, comprehensive crypto regulation. So the G7 meeting is this week, I think, coming up. And that is going to cause some turbulence in the crypto space as well, because you know this will be worldwide news. Now think about this. This is a global thing happening right now. This isn't just America. This isn't just Germany. This just isn't Europe. This just isn't in the Asian countries. This is a global payment system coming in, Warriors. And I'm going to break down for you guys within the next week. Remember, November is ISO20022 goes live. You got Algorand, you have XRP, you have many cryptocurrencies that are linked in that. The JPM coin, you got R3, are in the ISO 20022 that's going live, Warriors. Is that by chance that the XRP case, Ripple case may be ending around that time? I don't know, okay? So what is the G7? I'm here to educate and help people understand what the G7 is. The Group of Seven is a intergovernmental political forum consisting of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, and United States. In addition, the European Union is a non-incremental member. It's members of the world's largest IMF advanced economies and the wealthiest liberal democracies. The group is officially organized around the shared values of pluralism, represented government. As of 2022, the collective group accounts for over 50% of the global net wealth, which is 418 trillion, 32 to 46% of the global gross domestic product. So do you think that the decisions they make or the rules that they start to work on globally are going to affect crypto? Absolutely. But the good thing is we're at the bottom of a wave, Warriors. The money is going to be flooding into cryptocurrency at regulation when they finally do that. That's why we know the SEC nearly doubled the size on May 3rd, made an announcement for crypto asset offerings. They doubled their staff to focus on crypto asset offerings, crypto asset exchanges, crypto asset lending and staking, decentralized finance, NFTs, and stable coins. Wow. Kind of ironic. On May 3rd, they doubled the size, and all of a sudden, Terra Luna, around May 10th, around May 12th, somewhere around there, comes collapsing down. Janet Yellen on May 10th in front of Congress talking about stablecoins. Terra Luna comes collapsing down. Just things to think about, Warriors. All right, so NASDAQ, they're all over it, guys. All over it. Your job is just to stay calm through this. Don't trip, buy the dip, dollar cost average into cryptocurrencies you think. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not giving you advice. What I'm telling you is I'm dollar cost averaging into cryptos, things like crypto.com. I love crypto.com. Not financial advice. XRP. I have, not XRP. I bought 17 cents. My dollar cost average. So XLM and XRP, I have an equal amount of bag, just so you guys know. I'm dollar cost averaging into Ethereum, CRO. B-Chain is super cheap right now. It's absolutely beautiful. And those are the ones I'm dollar cost averaging. I also have an Ethereum miner that is producing about $400 in passive income every single month. And is that what I'm dollar cost averaging into right now? Yep. And then I'm also focusing on my insurance, building businesses. So NASDAQ 2022 Cryptocurrency Regulation Guide. I would highly recommend you go look this up and dive into it. They're all over it. So I downloaded the document, of course, and I'm reading through it. But this takes you through not every single, but the countries and what they're doing in regulation. And you need to know this, Warriors. The good thing about this is all this information right here, Warriors. This tells you it is coming. It is coming like a freight train, Warriors. Cryptocurrency is here to stay. It is going to be very volatile as they navigate through this regulation space. About 99% of cryptos are not going to survive this, Warriors. So as you build through this new quantum system, I'm here to tell you that this is going to be the most important asset you have. How when the market is bloody, I just stay calm. When it's up, I stay calm. I'm neutral. Everything is neutral. I don't get excited when it's blowing up. I don't get it.
I think that's so. I mean, we'll kind of shut that off. So, I mean, there's a lot happening, right? A lot happening that nobody's aware of. And, you know, a couple things he said, one thing he said when he was talking about Terra, he said that Terra came out and said that they weren't backed by only U.S. bonds. What he meant to say was Tether. There's different stable coins. There was U.S. Terra, which that's the one that got destroyed. And there's also USD Tether. So what he meant to say is that Tether came out ahead of it. I mentioned this last week. They came out ahead of the story and said, "Oh no, we're diversified," so they look like the hero in the situation. But again, there's a lot happening. Also, I guess I was right. She was in front of Congress, so she was talking about the need for regulation of stablecoins right after they destroyed one. I don't think that's a coincidence. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? So how long we got? 1 minute? Okay. So I got Jim on the phone. He did call in. We're gonna chit chat a little bit and welcome him back. There's a lot to think about. You know, when I come back after the break, we're talking to Jim for a little bit about what we just heard, and then a little bit more information that kind of piggybacks onto what we were just listening to. I'll kind of read that out for you. So, you know, stay tuned. We'll be right back. And this is CryptoShyp Radio. I'm Benjamin Jackson. I'm glad to have you here.
The next big thing in crypto is decentralized finance. Pengu DeFi community is an exciting project where anyone can create immediate and long-term passive income in the DeFi crypto markets. Pengu is a global movement with over 200,000 members. In just a few short months, the Pengu DeFi project became the second largest liquidity pool on JustSwap. Welcome to the world of DeFi, where the power belongs to the community, and you are the community. Find out more and join us at 10xdefi.com, 10xdefi.com.
For all your digital marketing needs. Are you tired of getting burned by marketers or hesitant to do online marketing because you aren't sure where and how to get started? Wouldn't it be great if there was a simple, fast, effective, and affordable way to run your business online? Welcome to the world of Marketing on Fire. Marketing on Fire is the new kid on the block and your all-in-one digital marketing solution. Not only does Marketing on Fire essentially bring your monthly business costs as an entrepreneur to almost nothing, it's really easy to use. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just beginning your journey into business for yourself, create high-converting sales funnels, automated webinars, online forums, professional websites, follow-up email marketing, your own built-in CRM for lead management, invoicing, credit card processing, and even build your own courses in minutes with a storefront to sell them from. And every account comes with its own customizable virtual business card with QR code, which allows you to share all your social and business profiles all at once. Downloadable to iOS or Android, it's so easy and simple to learn, a child can figure it out. Every area of the platform has a step-by-step professionally narrated training video to keep you moving just in case you need it. Don't ever deal with the technical arrogance of digital marketers ever again, while at the same time bringing your monthly online business costs down to almost nothing for your online services. Grab a free lifetime account today at GOMOF.com/ANGIETABIO.
I mean, that was great. It's the first time I've heard the Marketing on Fire commercial, so that was really amazing. I was not expecting that, to be honest with you. I guess I should have been, right? So, Marketing on Fire, it's a great platform. It's one of my other passion projects, along with RockU.Academy, and kind of bringing it all together onto the radio show, so we can kind of, get some. First of all, I love talking crypto. It's just fun. But everything seems to overlap these days. One project with one team overlaps into the other, and it's just when you're directed at, say, like collaborating and vision and living from purpose, a lot of it seems to just come together for you, and all the projects just seem to start make sense. So, welcome back to the CryptoShyp Radio Hour. I am Benjamin Chatson. I'm going to bring my my good friend Jim Gale on now. Before I do that, I want to talk about him for a second. He's one of the most standout leaders in the world that I see right now with everything that's going on. There's a lot of people that are scared, concerned about things like shortages, things like, oh my God, so much is changing so quickly in the last 3 years. Our entire worldview has changed on like illness and like supply chain stuff like that. And if you didn't hear Jim last time he was here, I want to kind of give a brief synopsis of who he is. He has a company called Food Forest Abundance. And what he does is he helps companies and residents transform their lawns into food forests, where he grows fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, thousands of different things that you can grow depending on the climate. So want to welcome onto the show Jim Gale. Brother, you there?
Yes, I am, brother.
What is going on, man?
From you as always, and I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you at Golf Landing.
Oh, yeah, like that. Definitely next Saturday we're going to do that.
Love it.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show, brother. How's your day going?
Epic. I'm so connected. I spent the morning literally sitting in the garden and just observing the interaction between this magical, epic system called nature or source or God, whatever you want to call it. And it's all there. The solutions to all of it are already there. And then we've got this contrast that comes in, and that gives us something to do, right? We're in the human race. Yep. And it's a race to either we're going to lose to the evil, which is live backwards, right? Or we're going to win by raising out of the fear, which, by the way, is the primary control mechanism of evil. Right. So anyway, it's been a good day. How are you?
Great, man. Great, man. It's good to hear you. You kind of caught the tail end of what I was just playing for everybody, correct?
Yes, I did. Loved it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of information in there, and there's a lot to go over. And I was kind of when I was playing that, I was wondering, with what you're doing, you're kind of like, oh my God, your ship is pointed and parting the seas for you the way that you're going with what you're doing. I am curious, this whole regulation stuff with cryptocurrency, does that affect you in any way, or like anything like that?
That's so great, because as I was listening to the show and talking about regulation, my question is, who are the regulators? Mm-hmm. And what are their intentions? And first of all, I don't need any regulation. Like, my actions come from the desire to do good and to manifest and to create and to love and have voluntary interactions with people.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like so much is going to change over the next year, and they're trying to like rein it in, and they have their plans, but like it's like trying to stop the ocean with a screen door on a battleship, or was it the submarine? That was the joke, right?
You can't stop spirit.
No, you
can't stop the apocalypse, which is lifting the veil. We are in the ascension. This is the great awakening, and it cannot be stopped. They will try every means and method to poison the air and the water and the soil and the mind of the slave, of the asset that they consider theirs to control. But we will not allow that anymore.
It's an interesting point that you bring up, because it's what do we focus on? The world is full of perceived threats. The world is full of perceived scarcity. The world, and it's all propped up in front of our face to keep reminding us to stay disconnected and fearful of there's not enough, and I have to hold on to what I have, and like it's all going to be taken away from me. The fear of loss, all that stuff. And as you were saying, like if you just look around, I mean, if you start with nature, you then come to your senses. But and I don't mean that like you're acting stupid and then came to your senses. I mean, you come to your actual senses and can trust your senses of what's going on right around you and just observe. It was interesting what happened at the about summer 2020. At the beginning of all that stuff, and I was like, for a few weeks, I was like, what? And it was like a panic, and then all that stuff. And then I just started looking around me and I became present to what was going on around me. And I didn't see anybody really in trouble with, we're not going to say the word, right? We're not going to talk about that, but just kind of, it's such a powerful narrative to get caught up in that they pump into our heads through devices, through radios, through TV, and all that stuff. But to be able to kind of like take a step back from that and do what you were doing and just enjoy nature and be present, it's truly a gift from God.
It literally is. The present is the present. That is the gift from God. It's so embarrassingly simple, as Bill Mollison said. And Victor Hugo, I'm going to share this quote as much as I can because it is so relevant.
Yeah.
There's one thing stronger than all of the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. Not a new idea, right? Nothing I'm talking about is a new idea. It's the most ancient of all ideas.
Yeah.
It's the idea of harmony, of working with natural, God-given systems.
Makes all kind of sense. So what I'm going to do is this. I don't know how long this is going to take me to go through, but you touched on something called, and I say that again about the idea when ideas come, there's no stopping it, something like that?
Right. There's one thing stronger than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come.
What do you think about this push towards globalism? Globalism as far as financial and things like that. What do you think about that?
I think it's part of the control mechanism that they've been working on, and there is a they, and they've got names, and Dr. David Martin has laid them out crystal clear. So people say, who are they? Well, there they are. They're the families that have been for hundreds of years, maybe longer. They have had one objective, and that's to control the mind of the asset through governmente, which means mind control.
Yeah, it's a powerful word. We've gone over that before. And, something in that video he also said, like really early on, Mom, you kind of made a face when he said it.
What?
He was talking about for all of you that were like, it's too high to get into crypto, it's too low to get into crypto, right? And I think that particular frame of thinking, it's too high, it's too low. I don't. It might die if I come in while it's going down, and it's too expensive if I go in when it's high. You're talking about Bitcoin in the market. I think it really speaks to our conditioning, to our sickness with the dollar, because it's if you can see crypto as a singular possibility that has nothing to do with the dollar at the end of the day. At the end, when the dollar is gone, the crypto will still be there. So we have this conditioning to compare things in an up and down fashion with how much it's worth in dollars. When actually cryptos, and there are a lot of people in crypto trying to make money, quote unquote, make money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the idea behind crypto, and that's going to happen. People are going to make money. They're going to get wealthy. Hopefully we're on the right side of history with that, and all turns out the way we hope it does. But really, it's not about how much it's worth in dollars. It will turn into wealth. That's kind of the idea. But truly, it's not about whether it's high or low. It's about when it's high or low. What are you going to do? Not what are you not going to do? Because crypto is about the accumulation of coins. Get more. Like true crypto enthusiasts don't look at the price tag of things and have a reaction to have them change their commitment as to what they're going to do. They look at their singular goal of looking to accumulate more tokens in the projects that they believe in. And if the price is high, they're buying. If the price is low, they're buying at a discount. It's just they're buying. So what in the audio that I was playing, he's talking about long-term fundamentals is really important. And it's just a fascinating, what you were talking about, the control of the mind. That entire paradigm of comparing something to the U.S. dollar is 100% control and indoctrination.
100%. What I like to compare it with, or think about when I think of crypto, is decentralized store of value and barter tool. And when we can decentralize, centralization is the goal of the slave master, that's their goal, is to have all of the power, which will lead to their own demise. But you've heard the story of the scorpion and the frog, where they're both on the side of the river, and the scorpion says to the frog, "Hey, can you take me across the river?" And the frog says, "Are you crazy? You'll sting me and we'll die, or I'll die." And the scorpion says, "Why would I do that? If I sting you, then we're both going to die. And the frog, using his logical, loving brain, frog brain, says, yeah, that makes sense. So they're going across the river. And the scorpion stings the frog, and they're going down. And the frog looks at, what are you doing? Now we're both going to die. And he says, I'm a scorpion. That's just what we do.
Right. Exactly. We just do what we do. Creatures of habit, right? You know, it's funny, man. Like, I think about what you do, what you're doing for the world, and what you're doing for your clients, and what you're doing for your organization. And as you were talking, this is the phrase that came to my head, because I can imagine the different types of clients that you have. They probably range across the political spectrum. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's really a difference of awake or not, but go ahead.
Right. Well, that's a whole exactly. But the point is that here's the thought: the craziest conspiracy theorists come up with the most amazing ideas. You are one of the craziest conspiracy theorists I've ever met. If anybody was to use the term conspiracy theorist, you would fit right in there along with me, right? So you're not on your own with this.
I love it.
But it's like, think about it. If they were to meet you first and understand what you do, and then say they're on the left side of the plate, there's no left, there's no right. It's just where people decide to hang their hat and sit on a side, right? But what we do is bring those sides together with vision and purpose, because that's what brings people together. Opinions and beliefs don't do that. We have to get past all that. Right. But imagine meeting Jim, right? Imagine you were let's just kind of keep this really simple. Imagine that you were actually a Biden supporter. Imagine that was the case. Look at him laughing. Imagine we have someone that's a Biden supporter, and there's a lot of them out there, right? I'm not. Let me be clear about this. I don't go either way, but it's like I just observe, right? And there's definitely tendencies of which side people fall on. But imagine, because everybody wants good for the planet at the end of the day. They just disagree on how to get there, right? And then they argue with the person that disagrees with them. That's kind of where we're at right now. But imagine meeting Jim, everybody out there listening, including Mom and Daniel and my wonderful audience. Imagine meeting Jim and having a conversation about what he does, right? And you're fascinated. It's an amazing project that he has going, and he's helping a lot of people, 45 different countries around the world, if I'm not mistaken. Almost.
Yep. All over the place.
Almost all states you're in, or all of them already?
Yes. I don't even know, but most, if not
close
all,
enough, right?
Yeah.
But imagine you hear this great vision, right? And then he starts talking crazy about this conspiracy theorist. And it's like going to push up against what you believe, but you love his product. How do you discern between the two? It's like you're truly the embodiment of awakening, my friend. I can tell you that, because not only are you making amazing moves in the world, which typically the environmental stuff, that kind of leans to the left. Usually it does, right? But what you're doing, and I'm not saying you're on the right either. Don't hear that either. But it's like truth does not take a side. Spirit does not take a side, left or right. It doesn't go red or blue. Spirit, truth, nature, God, that doesn't do any of that. People do that. Right. And that's the glass ceiling that I see you kind of pull people through so they can see that there's more going on than inside their home. So
we're roasting all the sacred cows. Earlier, you were talking about how I'm doing this for so many other people and for everybody. I'm doing this for myself.
Yeah.
100% selfish. And here's the truth about selfishness is that's all there is from our perspective. Now, John Nash won the Nobel Prize. And before him, Adam Smith was the man with the economic theory that ran the world for about 150 years. And his theory was if everybody in an economy does what's best for themselves, then it will be a strong economy. Nash came along and said, well, wait a minute. If we do what's best for ourselves and others, then we're better off as individuals, and it speaks to the ethics. Now, what Hollywood did with that is, and by the way, there's a movie called A Beautiful Mind, where they talked about, it's fantastic.
I can relate to the way he thinks.
Yeah, it's very strategic and mathematical. And So this is what's interesting about how Hollywood does things. And Hollywood is owned by the same BlackRock, not GreenRock, right? The entity that's controlling the whole thing is called BlackRock because that's the goal of this entity. That's the contrast in our world. So anyway, instead of making the movie about the Nash equilibrium, which is revolutionarily simple and beneficial to everybody, they made the movie about schizophrenia.
Wow. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that they would hide the story under the narrative. That's fascinating. Yes. They always do that.
Yep.
So here's what I want to do. I really appreciate you coming on today, Jim, and you're always welcome back. You can continue to hang on, but what I'm going to do is go over a little bit of information about an idea whose time has come, or potentially his time has come, because we want to be really clear that A, we're not financial advisors, and B, we're not telling you what to do. We just want to share some information. So you're welcome to hang, but this is probably going to take till the end of the show because we only have a few minutes left, if that's all right with you.
Awesome, brother. Go for it.
All right. So, and if I don't talk to you before the show ends, I love you, brother. But here, I want to talk about the ISO20022 ecosystem for a minute, and specifically Ripple XRP is in all likelihood going to be absolutely change the banking system and the world and many people's lives. Unfortunately, many of us are living the paradigm of the Great Depression for our grandparents. Fortunately or unfortunately, there are two types of people. This is going to continue because we're about to go into the biggest recession and the biggest financial collapse in our living human history. And there's going to be two types of people that are going to be, there's going to be a warrior and a worrier. Now, here's the thing. That's beautiful in this. It's a financial collapse. Some of the wealthiest people are made in these collapses. If you're not the type of person to get caught up in emotionally sensationalized narratives, you'll realize and see very clearly that they've created a whole new system this way. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the system ISO20022. Now that's ISO20022. You easily Google it. There's like a few coins that actually have it. It's a protocol for banking. I'm going to break down Capgemini. Ripple, and we all know how many of that is connected to XRP, the bridge currency. We know there's an SEC case on with Ripple, and that's all by design to bring in a new Howey test. Our job is to pick the winners in the ecosystem that are going to be able to manage the regulation that's coming. Now, the left and the right, when we talk about politics, we're just talking about this. It's actually created by the left and the right. It's designed to divide. They want us arguing. They want us, picking sides. They want to divide and argue over topics like masks, foreign wars, racism, gender arguments. Human beings, like we were just talking with Jim, are supposed to cooperate and work together and collaborate. So let's get started today. Collaborate. Find your team to run with. We're going to dive into this. We're going to start out with ISO 2022. I'm going to share with you guys as if you've never heard of ISO 2022. Now, I know we talked about this before. We talked about the cryptos that are compliant with ISO 2022. One of them being XRP. You might want to do some research and look up cryptos that are compliant with ISO 2022. Why is this important? This is the messaging system of a new messaging system that's going to allow banks, kind of like Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. A great way to look at it is quants, right? That's why quants are something you could look into. Quants connect 2.0 to 3.0 and allows them to communicate now. Its payments move at the speed of light. Now, remember I was talking about at the beginning of the show how PayPal, or the processor I wasn't going to mention, actually held that payment back for 21 days.
Right.
This is like lightning speed transactions. So at the speed of light with companies like Ripple XRP, and that's why it keeps coming up with the Capgemini, and Ripple allows money to move at the speed of light. When money's moving at the speed of light, the messaging system needs to move at the speed of light as well. So ISO 2022 in bytes, and for payments supporting CBPR+. The CBPR Plus readiness, I think, that might be commercial bank preparedness. Reading this, and I'm not sure that the CBPR means, but let's say it's welcome to the ninth edition of the ISO 2022 and bytes payments as we continue supporting the community in preparation for the November 2022. 2022, we're sharing the results of two major ISO 2022 surveys conducted in the past 12 months. Message flows, what can be expect 3 minutes? Okay. Let's kind of skip ahead a little bit here. And they need to get caught up with we're talking about the banks. And the banks are in the same position as commercial banks. And thrifts cannot get these running up in systems. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold off on, there's a lot in here. So I'm not going to try and squeeze all this in here because we only have a couple minutes left on the show. I hope, the hour that I spend here, first of all, I really enjoy it. So I appreciate everybody that listens. Mom, thank you for coming in. Angie,
my pleasure.
Angie that couldn't be with us today. I appreciate her for even creating the space for this to happen. We really want to be able to share just information that's really not being propped up in the news. The stuff that's in the news is really not good for the soul. But it's good to be aware of what is potentially going to happen. If you do the right research and you look around, you'll see that it is quite possibly all a major distraction, everything, one thing after another, to keep you distracted from say, taking action. It's the stuff that's in the news is very paralyzing. You can sit there. I watch the news sometimes, and it's like, man, they just can't stay off certain topics. So the truth of the matter is that we have, if you're a beginning crypto investor, it's very difficult to know what to do and where to start. There's an entire ocean of exploration you can do. But that's kind of why I call the show CryptoShyp. It's because this is your ship. You get to determine what the best direction it is. It's a vehicle for you to possibly make some decisions. And the other side of this is that one of the ways to get started in cryptocurrency without making any mistakes is our bot that we're using, EasyBot. If you want to know about that, you can go to www.geteasybot.com. Easy is spelled with a Z. And there's a short video there that kind of explains it. But the idea behind it is that the company that created it, which are friends of mine, they really wanted people to be able to come into crypto, not make any mistakes, and profit from the first day walk moving forward. And I can tell you for a fact, we've been using it for a few weeks now in a downturn market, watching the market continue to go down, and it's been profiting for us. So if you want to check that out, it's www.geteasybot.com, easy with a Z. And we are almost out of time for this week. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been an amazing time. Thank you, Mom, for coming. Jim, appreciate you coming on. Always a good time. Daniel, you're amazing. Thank you for your help. And we'll see you next week. Everybody stay safe for the holiday. Hug your loved ones. Appreciate the veterans that we still have with us. And I will see you next week. Love you guys. Thank you.
The presenters are not financial advisors, and the opinions presented should not be construed as financial advice. Trading cryptocurrency carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Before deciding to invest in cryptocurrency, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. You should be aware of all the risks associated with cryptocurrency trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Past performance is not indicative of future results. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.